Hi there and welcome to another PSD Toots Photoshop tutorial. I'm Gavin Steele and I'm going to be taking you through Fabio's Web 2.0 Badges tutorial. We're going to end up with an effect much like the ones that you can see down here in our conclusion. You can check out all of the steps over at psdtoots.com. You can check out more of Fabio's work over on his website, and you can check out more of our videos over at our Vimeo channel. Okay, so this is the tutorial that we're going to be going through today. So the first thing we need to do is load up Photoshop. And as you can see, I've already got some of the buttons that I created earlier. First thing you need to do is just open up a brand new file. I'm going to set mine to a width of 500 by 500 pixels. Just click on OK. I'm going to add a brand new layer. I'm going to head over, change my color to black and white, to my ellipse tool. I'm going to draw out my shape. I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm going to click, hold down Alt, drag out from the middle so I get a nice round effect. It doesn't matter about the color for now. We're going to change that with our layer styles. So once you've got your layer the way you want it, the size of the circle, the size of your badge, we can just call that badge 1. Okay, and then we're going to apply some layer styles. So I've got my styles already predefined down at the bottom, and I've got this one here which is Web 2.0. I'm going to double click on that layer and just show you each of those effects. Okay, so the first one I put on there was a gradient overlay. The blending mode is set to normal with an opacity of 100%, and my gradient goes from a really light blue to a dark blue. I'll just load that up for you. So we've got 066 CAA all the way along to C1DBE8. And the one in the middle there is just 008FC7. So click on OK, and click on OK. And then I put on a bevel and emboss. It's an inner bevel, it's smooth, with 191% depth, size 7, soften it to about 4 pixels. I've got an angle of 120 degrees. The altitude is set to 30. And then the thing I changed down the bottom here is I changed the opacity from my highlight mode to normal and the opacity down to 71%. My shadow mode is still a multiply black, but I've reduced the opacity right down to 0%. And then just click on OK. Right, so once you've got your layer styles for that first layer, we're just going to duplicate that layer. And then we're going to transform it. And we're just going to shrink it down just a little bit, like so. And then hit enter and you're going to get this little white area up at the top. And we then need to make sure we apply a stroke to this layer, and we're going to make this stroke inside 2 pixels. Blending mode is normal. We're going to reduce that down to 50%, and we're going to change the color to white, and we're going to apply a gradient, and we're just going to change that to one I've got predefined down here at the bottom, and it goes from white with 0% opacity all the way to white with 100% opacity. And just click on OK, and then you're going to reduce that down to about 26%, and that looks good. So we're going to click on OK, and there's our first badge. So I'm going to group those two together. Let's call that circle badge. And then on top of that, I'm going to apply, actually I can get rid of that, I'm just going to apply a text layer. Ooh. Bin those two. I'm going to apply a text layer, and my text layer is going to go over the top here, and I'm going to type something like buy. I can increase the size of that. Down in the middle, and then again I'm going to apply a style to my text layer, and that's going to be Web 2.0 font. If I just click on that, and again I'll show you the layer styles. It's got an inner shadow set to multiply and black with an opacity of 29%. The angle's at 120%. I'm using global light, and the distance stays at 1 pixel, the size 1 pixel, and I've got a color overlay which is on white normal set to 100%. Just click on OK, And again, if you wanted to change that, we could just highlight the text and we could just replace that maybe with a little plus sign if you wanted to add that to your cart or something like that. And those styles will stay applied to whatever you type in that layer. But I'm happy with it saying bye for now. Okay, so I'm just going to move that into my folder there, go back in and move it right above to the top. I'm going to select that and I'm just going to move the whole thing over to the left and we're going to get started on that little star badge. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is head over to your Polygon Tool. We're going to make sure it's got sides set to 40, make sure it's a star, and indent the sides by 10%. Everything else stays on normal, opacity stays on 100%, and then we're going to draw out our star shape. So let's add a new layer, and I'm going to hold down Shift, click and Alt, and just drag that out. Okay, and then I'm going to apply my second style to that, and that's down here in my styles palette. That's saved as Red Web 2.0, and if I open that up, it's just the same. I've just changed the gradient color. Ooh, if I just cancel that, I've got it going from a dark red, which is AF0204, all the way to a light pinky red, which is F14C62. Click on OK, and then OK. And that's got the bevel and emboss as well. Exactly the same settings as before. It's inner bevel, smooth, 191% depth, size is 7, soften 4 pixels, 120 degrees angle, and the altitude set to 30, and I've got this set to 75. I'm going to reduce that down to 71, and your opacity on your multiply for your shadow is set to 0, and just click on OK. Now you can see it's got my little radial gradient over here to the right. I want to move that up to the top. So if I just go back in, gradient over there, you can see it's on radial. Now a neat little trick is, once you set it to radial, you can just click on the image and you can drag that up, like so, and you can see that light area is just dragged to this top half of the picture. And then we're just going to click on OK. We're going to duplicate that layer, and again we're going to transform that, and we're just going to bring that in tiny little bit, like so. And again, you can go back in, you can apply the stroke to 2, inside. Again, we're going to put that as a gradient, and choose that gradient I set up before, going from white transparent to solid white. And that looks okay. And we're going to reduce the opacity down to 50% and the scale down to 26. Okay, I'm happy with that. And click on OK. And again, you're just playing around with the different layer styles. You might not want to put a stroke on this layer. And again, you can just go back into your layer style and just uncheck it. Okay, I'm going to keep that in there. And I'm going to click on OK. And again, I'm going to group those two together, stick them in a folder. I'm going to call that Star Badge. And I'm going to add my text layer. And that might be, give that a plus. Let's increase the size of that. Maybe you want to add a discount or something to your site. Get it somewhere in the middle. And again, apply that layer style that I had before. Again, exactly the same. Inner shadow, you can see the settings there. Distance 1, size 1. So I'll multiply with a 29% opacity. And the color overlay of white, normal, and set to an opacity of 100%. And you can just play around with each of these designs. You're just playing around with the layer styles until you get an effect that you're happy with. Well, thanks very much. I'm Gavin Steele, and I've just taken you through Fabio's handy Web 2.0 icons in Photoshop. Don't forget to check out the website in the plus section. Don't forget to check out Fabio's website and the other videos over at our channel. Thanks very much.